on that front. Can I now ask our energy companies their contributions to the affordable warmth strategy? If I'm being cynical, I would suggest that maybe 2 energy price hikes in the last 2 winters has been your contribution.
I think coming to the obligations, I mean, we've worked very closely with Richard and others in trying to support activity in London. I think the key point made with the obligations, so I'll come to the pricing second, but the key point in obligations is there were carbon obligations which had some fuel poverty outcomes. That's always made it a challenge to try to target them effectively to reduce fuel poverty. So we really welcome DEC's move in the energy company obligation, where it's not a carbon obligation affordable warmth, it is focused specifically on reducing heating costs, and I hope that will have a much better impact. We have done a lot of activity through both CERT and CESP in London. We've supported London warm zones, we've got a large number of CESP schemes. But both programmes have had challenges for London. We have found it difficult. London warm zones have overcome a lot of them through a lot of on-the-ground work, working very closely with boroughs, which I do think is the only way you can actually make progress is if the boroughs are on side with what you're trying to achieve. So I do think we've achieved a lot, but I do think the opportunity moving forward is under Green Deal and Energy Company obligation, I think will hopefully be a much better fit to the kind of London housing type stock and demographics. And I think working strategically with this new affordable warmth and help forum, etc., we really welcome, really looking for opportunities to work in partnership.
And the price hikes?
Yeah, okay, so we had to raise our prices recently, as the other energy companies have. It was unavoidable, unfortunately, due to rising wholesale costs as well as social and environmental obligations that have been put on energy companies. We still have some of the cheapest prices in the market, and we do have a product where our customers can fix their prices for the next 3 winters. But yeah, unfortunately, it's the UK wants to invest in its infrastructure, and that's put a lot of obligations on us.
Okay, can I just British Gas respond to the same question, please?
Okay, if I cover the energy efficiency side, I agree with John. Programmes such as CERT was focused on carbon reduction as opposed to fuel poverty, and you always get a disconnect there with sort of government and national policy when they try to do the two things together. And obviously we've got Warm Front that's been running in London. The issue there is obviously the criteria was changed, and that meant that less Warm Front could go into London. Very similar picture with CERT. And just reiterating what Richard was saying, Renew has moved forward. As in the report that you highlighted, Renew was initially focused on carbon, it's now been moved to fuel poverty. We're supporting that and looking forward to Green Deal, but particularly eco around the affordable warmth element. We see London as a strategic target. Obviously CERT and CESP didn't really fund a lot of measures in London. You've got a lot of flats, a lot of solid wall, that didn't really fit with CERT and CESP. But on eco, big changes, big opportunity for London, we will work with them. And Christine, if you want to come in on prices.
Yeah, really, I think the situation's the same, really. We had to increase prices to, we have to make a profit. We're a commercial organisation and we do only actually make 5% profit. And that we've maintained that 5%, for many years, even though prices have gone up. Operational costs have come down because of the internal cuts that we've done, but due to the increase in investment costs and social obligations, etc., is the reason why we've put the prices up. But we're naturally doing all we can to help people through our Best Deal for You. We contact customers to advise them of the tariffs that are available and where there might be a better tariff than the one that they're on. And we're doing an awful lot for people that we identify as really struggling to pay the bills, with the warm home discount, obviously free energy efficiency and other social programmes that we run.
So just sorry to cut you short, but I mean I'm getting no kind of indication that when you discuss these energy price hikes that you take on board the impact it's going to have on fuel poverty. And it clearly does have one. Can you explain to me if you look into that at all when you
Yeah, we do.
rise prices by 11% just before Christmas begins?
Sure. EDF Energy has always taken its our responsibility to our vulnerable customers seriously. We've often led the industry. We still have. We've still kept our legacy discounted tariff customers, kept those on, even though the warm home discount has come in. We offer insulation, free energy efficiency advice, and also the broader group rebate is targeted. Each energy supplier can choose their broader group. Ours is targeted more at people with young families and on lower incomes. So we do work with the Citizens Advice Bureau as well to give free debt advice, and there is help out there for all our vulnerable customers. But we do, work with other groups to try and find those and target it to those people.
Okay. I mean, it's just that it was only when I was reading up the papers last night that it was made aware to me that for every 1% increase in energy prices, you push something like 40,000 households in the whole of the UK into fuel poverty. Now, I can imagine what the figure could be, tens of thousands, well, not 10,000 probably in London. But is that something you accept and acknowledge when you make these pricing decisions?
Well, obviously the pricing decision has to take in a lot of factors. We, as a company, and I'm sure the other energy suppliers, fuel poverty is obviously a symptom of general poverty, and with the economic economic downturn and increase in prices, we do have stepped up our commitment to our vulnerable customers, and we will rebate all our vulnerable customers just before winter. If they had been on our cheapest tariff, we'll rebate them the difference. So that's a commitment that we've made that's not obligated. So we have gone over and above our obligations for vulnerable customers. We do recognise that.
So when you've hiked it up this winter by 11%, you've got some idea of the impact of the number of households that's going to affect in London. I mean, you have 75%.
Well, not necessarily.
75% of the energy supply in London. So you've got some idea of the total number of households you're going to be pushing into fuel poverty.
Unfortunately, this is why we rely on data from local authorities and things like that. We don't necessarily know that a household is fuel poor just from the data that we hold as an energy supplier.
And that's one of the problems we always have, is we don't know the incomes of our householders. So at the moment, for example, to try and get SPG households, we're offering £200 and can't free insulation. We're still struggling to find enough people to help. It doesn't seem an effective way with the amount of costs we're putting in to try to find these people. We do have a priority services register. We do have a number of things that we will try to do to help householders. One of the things we're asking government for is greater data sharing. I think in terms of the warm homes discount, we've really started to move that forward with data sharing with government. Government know the income states of people. We are there. We want to be able to provide as much assistance as we can. So I think by trying to marrow them more and build on the success we've had today, we'll be able to see that progress. And I think, for example, for the energy company obligation for affordable warmth, we are asking that, instead of us asking people to show their bank statements or other intrusive, which we know stops people asking for help because they don't want an energy company seeing this type of information, that instead the government take responsibility for identifying the householders and we then provide the assistance. That way we won't be wasting costs, which we have to absorb in relation to finding customers and can try to identify the right people.
Well, John, there's other assembly members who want to come in on this. Can I just pursue there's Jenny, Fiona and Andrew. Can I just pursue this line with EDF in particular? I mean, the other striking difference is that in the UK you've put up prices by 11%, and on the other side of the English Channel it's only 2%. Can you explain why the British public should have to incur a much bigger energy price hike than those in France?
Yeah, basically it's because the UK relies so heavily on our coal and fossil-fired power stations, whereas in France it's 75% nuclear. They took the decision to go with new nuclear build many years ago, and Britain now has to invest heavily in its infrastructure to move towards a low carbon generation.
So let me just get this right. Are you saying that if we go nuclear, we'll have cheaper energy supplies?
Prices will be a lot more stable because we'll be less reliant on the volatility of gas prices and wholesale prices.
And it's nothing to do with the whole governance of energy companies on different sides of the English Channel.
Well, it is to do with the governance, yeah.
It is. Can you expand on that, please?
They have a different. Well, France is 75% nuclear and state-owned. We've obviously privatised the energy industry in Britain, and we have to move towards a low-carbon generation.
I think the key point there is the investment that's required. I mean, we need fast investment if we're going to get to the low carbon. You know, our fuel mix, especially electricity mix, is far more carbon intensive than you get in the likes of France, because they made those investment decisions a long time ago. We're at the start of a lot of this path now. So I think, you know, there's a number of reasons, but we are relying on the globe. You know, these are wider than just UK, and I don't think it's relating to how one individual company is set up. It's more down to the market as a whole.
I mean, the governance issue. So, as a result of privatisation, we've ended up with higher energy price hikes than we would have done if we were on the other side of the channel.
We're more exposed to the wholesale prices, to global wholesale prices, yes, the way the energy market works.
So it's made us more vulnerable, at least.